Hello and welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we're talking about something you probably have, but maybe haven't thought much about: your citizenship. How did you get it? For millions of people around the world, the answer is deceptively simple. They were born in the right place. This principle is called Jus Soli, a Latin term meaning right of the soil. It means if you're born on a country's territory, you are automatically a citizen. It's a powerful idea, and it stands in contrast to the other main way of getting citizenship, jus sanguinis, or right of blood, where your citizenship is determined by your parents, not your birthplace. The story of birthright citizenship is an incredible global journey, tied up with empires, revolutions, and fierce debates about who gets to belong. So today, let's explore the surprising history of how the ground beneath your feet can define who you are. The story starts not with enlightened philosophers, but in the muddy fields of feudal England. In a world where land was power, allegiance wasn't about bloodlines, it was about your connection to the land itself and to the king who ruled it. If you were born in the king's domain, you were born under his protection, and you owed him your loyalty. You were a natural-born subject. This idea became a cornerstone of English common law. A huge moment for this principle came in 1608 with something called Calvin's Case. After Scotland and England were united under King James I, the courts had to decide if someone born in Scotland counted as a subject of England. The answer was yes. The court reasoned that allegiance was owed to the king himself, so it didn't matter which of his kingdoms you were born in. This ruling cemented the idea that being born in a territory under a sovereign's control made you their subject. This English approach was totally different from what was happening in mainland Europe, which followed the old Roman law tradition of jus sanguinis, or the right of blood. For them, citizenship passed from father to child. Lineage was everything. This split between English right of soil and European right of blood set the stage for a global clash of ideas about what it means to be a citizen. As the British Empire expanded, it took its legal traditions with it. So English settlers born in the American colonies were automatically considered subjects of the British Crown. But when those colonies fought for and won their independence, they took this old English idea and used it for a radical new purpose: to create brand new national identities. In the new United States, however, the question of who was a citizen was a mess. The original Constitution didn't clearly define it. Early laws were explicitly racist, limiting naturalization to free white persons. This left the status of millions of people born in the U.S., enslaved people, free African Americans, and Native Americans in a terrible legal limbo. This crisis came to a head in 1857 with the infamous Supreme Court case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court delivered a devastating ruling that African Americans, whether they were enslaved or free, could never be considered citizens. It was a moral and legal disaster. It took the unimaginable violence of the Civil War and the abolition of slavery to force a change. The result was the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1868. Its citizenship clause is one of the most important lines in American law. It states, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States." This was a direct, unambiguous rejection of the Dred Scott decision. It was written specifically to ensure that the formerly enslaved and their children would be citizens forever. But what did "subject to the jurisdiction thereof" actually mean? That question was answered in 1898 in the case of United States versus Wong Kim Ark. Wong Kim Ark was born in San Francisco to Chinese parents. Because of the discriminatory Chinese Exclusion Act, his parents couldn't become citizens. When Wong Kim Ark took a trip to China, the U.S. government refused to let him back in, claiming he wasn't a citizen. He sued, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The court sided with Wong Kim Ark. They ruled that the 14th Amendment embraces the Old English common law tradition of Jus Soli. Anyone born on U.S. soil is a citizen, with very narrow exceptions, like the children of foreign diplomats. This was a landmark victory, cementing birthright citizenship for the children of all immigrants, regardless of their parents' status. The U.S. wasn't alone. Across the Americas, newly independent countries like Argentina and Brazil also embraced birthright citizenship. It was a way to make a clean break from their European colonial rulers and build new, inclusive national identities. For them, Jus Soli was a forward-looking principle designed to encourage immigration and populate their vast new countries. While birthright citizenship is the law of the land across the Americas, the rest of the world is a different story. In fact, the global trend has been a move away from unconditional Jus Soli. Take the United Kingdom, the very place where the tradition began. In 1981, the UK passed a new Nationality Act. Since 1983, a child born in the UK is only a citizen at birth if at least one parent is a British citizen or a legal permanent resident. They put conditions on the right of the soil. Australia did the same thing in 1986, largely over concerns that people were using the law to get a residency advantage. Ireland was one of the last countries in Europe with unconditional birthright citizenship, but in 2004, the public voted in a referendum to restrict it, again driven by fears over immigration. Other countries have a more complicated, mixed system. France, for example, has its roots in the right of blood, but over the years, it's added elements of Jus Soli, often for practical reasons like filling its army. Today, a child born in France to foreign parents can become a citizen at age 18 if they've lived there for a certain number of years. Germany has a fascinating story of reversal. For most of its history, German citizenship was based strictly on bloodline. This meant that families of Turkish descent who had lived in Germany for generations were not considered citizens. But in the year 2000, Germany reformed its laws, incorporating a form of Jus Soli. Now, children born in Germany to non-German parents can get citizenship at birth if a parent has been a legal resident for a number of years. It was a massive step toward a more inclusive idea of what it means to be German. The debate over birthright citizenship is intense, touching on core ideas of fairness, identity, and national security. Supporters argue that it's a powerful tool for integrating immigrants. It ensures that the children of immigrants grow up as full members of society, preventing the creation of a permanent, marginalized underclass. It's also a simple, clear-cut rule that helps prevent the tragedy of statelessness. They say it upholds the principle of equality by treating every baby born on the nation's soil the same, no matter who their parents are. Opponents, on the other hand, raise concerns about national sovereignty. They argue that unconditional Jus Soli encourages what they call birth tourism, where people travel to a country just to have a baby who will get citizenship. Critics also say it rewards people who have broken immigration laws by giving their children the ultimate prize of citizenship. They believe that citizenship should be earned through a deeper connection to the nation, not just the random chance of birth. This debate isn't just academic. It has profound, real-world consequences. The most severe is statelessness, the condition of being a citizen of no country at all. For millions of stateless people around the world, life is a nightmare. Without a nationality, you can be denied education, healthcare, and legal jobs. You can't own property, open a bank account, or sometimes even get married. You live in constant fear of being detained or deported, with no country to protect you. This is where citizenship laws have the power of life and death. The right of the soil, or Jus Soli, is one of the most powerful safeguards against statelessness. It provides a clear path to citizenship for children who might otherwise have none, especially those born to stateless parents. International law even recognizes this. Article 15 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to a nationality. The global history of birthright citizenship is a story of a constant tension between two ideas of belonging, one based on soil, the other on blood. From its practical roots in feudal England to its revolutionary adoption in the Americas, Jus Soli has shaped nations. It's been a tool for inclusion, a shield against statelessness, and the engine of some of the most diverse societies on Earth. But as we've seen, the principle is under pressure. In our age of mass migration and heightened anxiety about national identity, countries are rethinking their rules. The global trend seems to be a convergence toward the middle. Countries based on blood are adding elements of soil, and countries based on soil are adding new conditions. As our world gets smaller and more connected, the question of who belongs will only get louder. The story of Jus Soli reminds us that the laws we make are not just abstract legal codes. They are the very architecture of our societies, deciding who is in and who is out, and shaping the meaning of home for generations to come. The debate over the right of the soil is really a debate about what kind of world we want to build. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.